This is the Dallas Morning News.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into SportsDay Insider, presented by the Dallas Morning News. I am Kevin Sherrington, joined by my old pal, Evan Grant. We will have our buddy Calvin Watkins on a little later to talk about the Cowboys and training camp and how it went in the first preseason game, first no-count game with the Seattle Seahawks. But first, we'll talk about the Rangers, who are the most they really are, in a lot of ways, the most mystifying, or at least this is the most mystifying season that I can remember, when this team constantly just manages to find itself at 500, which is normally not good enough for you to even worry about. But in a season like this one, where the West is so winnable, where the Astros can't win either, and neither can the Mariners, which is even a bigger mystery to me is the Mariners, because that's a really good team where it should be, and they're doing worse than the Rangers are. So first of all, Evan, what are your thoughts about that as far as ranking this club?
I think that this might go down as the Rangers might make the playoffs, Kevin. And I think this might go down as one of the most hated Ranger teams by fans in history. I think my newsletter yesterday, I asked fans for their input, and lots of people are still watching and they're interested, but nobody expressed a ton of optimism about what this team can do. And the general sense that I've gotten over the last 2 months is that, fans are just frustrated. It is almost 3 years now of basically 500 baseball with no real stretch in there that suggests, okay, there's a really good team in here somewhere. So, yeah, I think they very well may make the playoffs. As of this morning, they are, as we record this on Tuesday, they are tied for the wild card spot, because the best thing they can do these days is just not play and let everybody else lose. They are in a three-way tie with Baltimore and Detroit, which, of course, works against the Rangers' favor, because in a three-way tie for the wild card, and we'll just put this out there, even though none of this will come to fruition, you go to records in head-to-head, and all three teams are 6-6 against one another. And then the next tiebreaker is intra-divisional record, and the Rangers have been awful against the West. They're 18-25, and believe it or not, right now that's only the second worst of those three teams, but that is why Baltimore, currently 15-18 against the East, would be the wild card holder. I don't have any explanations for this team, Kevin. I'm out of them. Maybe they will get healthy at some point in time, and maybe they will roll off a nice 15-game stretch, and that might be enough to push them to 500 or above and get them into the postseason. But I think the ultimate answer that I still get to is, what does that do? Does anybody think this team's capable of winning a series in the playoffs? And once that is done, where is this team? And I think the answer that we all come to is the Rangers are in a bad spot long term, and we can talk about that a little bit more. But it's a really long windup for me to just get to this statement. My takeaway is that this is a really difficult place for the Rangers to be in, whether it's this season or long term.
For sure. And let's talk about that. And, you talked about the situation for the wild card. So, the best avenue for any team, obviously, is to win the division. And the division is still winnable for the Rangers, certainly. The problem has been that the team in front of them at the moment, the Astros, they just can't beat the Astros this year. The Astros have just drummed them. And the crazy thing is that so the Astros have killed the Rangers have killed the Mariners, and the Mariners have killed the Astros. And Lord knows why it's worked out that way, but that is the way that it has gone so far this season. And so it's problematic for the Rangers that the team that's killing them is in front of them. at the moment. And even if they can catch the Astros, they're going to have to pass them to make that work.
The Rangers also lose the tiebreaker to the Astros. So, in effect,
Yes.
they're 2.5 games behind Houston right now.
Yes.
And that's all that matters because the Mariners, in all likelihood, don't figure into any of this.
They don't seem to. And you know what? And as I wrote in my column the other day, it was after they had just lost 3 or 4 to the Angels, which is not even the first time they've been humiliated by the Angels this year. They were swept by the Angels earlier this year. Which let me explain that and then they lose 2 out of 3 to the A's, and so they go 2-5 in that road trip. What should have been a mop up for any team setting itself for the last quarter of the season, determining, all right, here we go. This is us as we head forward into this division chase, and we start out with a pratfall like that. It was just really, frankly, too much for me. And on top of that, the fact that Nathan Eovaldi is probably going to be out a month, and that who knows if Jacob deGrom, how long he might be out. Have we got an update on whether he'll make his start Wednesday?
Don't know exactly if deGrom will make a start or not. As they were off on Monday. I will get with the Rangers as when I get to the ballpark today. My guess is at the minimum he's going to be moved back another day or two, but we'll see what takes place. I know Jacob wants to pitch, but he's 38 years old, and there's a lot of parts there that are squeaky. Same thing with Eovaldi. I mean, I think if the Rangers can climb back into this, if the Rangers can roll off some games and not fall out of it, let's put it that way. I think Eovaldi's going to do everything he can to get out there and pitch. If the Rangers fall out of it, this injury might be season ending for him. So,
and that's what really any hope is built on this team. Like when we talk about, all you want to do is get into the playoffs, and then you just roll the dice and see what happens, and that's true in baseball. But the thing that gave you hope for the Rangers was that, well, you got Eovaldi, deGrom, and then Mackenzie Gore. That's a pretty good 1-2-3 rotation right there. As good as probably most teams are going to have if they're all healthy and rolling like they should be. And that gave you some hope. But if Eovaldi's going to be hurt, and maybe if they get to the playoffs, maybe he's okay by then. But who knows? Because at this point, neither one of those guys has pitched particularly well, even before they got hurt.
Yeah,
and neither has Gore, for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, the pitching staff hasn't been nearly as good as it was a year ago. And a year ago, they set unfair expectations because it was a historically good historically good season for those guys. But there's always a tax to pay for that, and I think the Rangers are paying that right now. The unfortunate part is that Jack Leiter, who should be back here, by September 1st, didn't take another step forward this year. And Kumar Rocker has been at best inconsistent. Those were the guys you hope could continue to improve upon their performance. Mackenzie Gore is an enigma to me. I don't know how to figure him out because he gets into some really bad situations and finds a way to, after the damage is done, roll off another 4 or 5 innings and give himself a decent overall start. But look, Kevin, every issue that I have with this team comes back to the offense, and it has for 2 years. And you look again at the last 2 weeks and what's been wrong with this team, and it's the fact that they're not scoring runs.
No, they haven't scored runs. And I thought that was a problematic thing to me watching the game Sunday to see Corey Seager sitting in the dugout. There was nothing, keeping him from playing that game that day except for the manager. And to me, in a game where you had to win, I mean, you got to win that series against the A's, just to get that funk off of you, and to move ahead and move into this week when you're, once again, you come home and you've got to get a toehold somewhere here. and your best player, the player who should be carrying you at this point, is not, ready to play.
Yeah, I don't know how to characterize this. Obviously, I wasn't around the club this weekend. Um, there's no doubt that Seager's back has been an issue all year and remains an issue. And there's two ways to look at this, and none of them are good. If there was a chance that he could play and he didn't fight to play, that's not a great look on by any stretch. Certainly there's value in getting a guy 2 days off for the price of one, but if there was any chance that he could play and he didn't play, didn't fight to play, that's a bad look. On the other hand, his back could be in bad shape. And what's that say again about the long term? Is an offseason of rest going to magically heal this back, or is this now a player who plays shortstop who's had a lingering history of injuries, who now has a back condition that he's going to have to deal with? And this again is where I'm at. They're in a precarious spot. Obviously, this year was still a chance, but long term, this is really looking messy.
No question about that. So let's talk about that now. I don't want to leap too far ahead here, but since, as you pointed out, fans are grumbling and they're wanting to know where the Rangers are headed. And of course, we don't even know where baseball is headed at this point. We're all expecting there to be a work stoppage almost certainly in December. How long that lasts, we don't know, whether it's a month, a couple of months, half the season, the whole season. I can't imagine it goes more than a few months, just because of the damage that the last season loss did to baseball. And at this point, baseball has really been on a resurgence. It's been really a good time for the sport. And the last thing they need to do is take a step back like that.
That's all great, but never underestimate the greed of owners and what they might choose to do.
No, absolutely, no question about that. Let's just take that aside. What happens with that? What do you think? What is the going into next season, which is going to be the last contract for several of their high rollers, or at least what? How many guys are going to be? At 27 is their last season.
Well, look, Jock Peterson is making $18 million. He's free after this year.
Just take them one by one here. So Jock Peterson, chances of him coming back?
I would say well below 50%.
Yeah, and because
he's going to be 35, he's limited to being a DH, and he only faces right-handed pitchers. And if you're going to have Corey Seager here, you better clear out some DH at bats, because he's going to need them. If you're going to try and keep him healthy to play 125 or 130 games, nobody's going to dare think about 150. Nathan Eovaldi and Jacob deGrom, both of their contracts expire after next year.
Between them, they're making how much?
Next year, they will make, between the two of them, right at, I believe, $60 million.
Yeah.
Seager is signed for another 4 years after this year. No, 5 years after this year for $150 million. And good luck trying to move that. He's also got full no trade clause after this year. And
then those are the primary contracts, right?
You've got Brandon Nimmo making $20 million a year and will be for at least another 4 years. But those are the three. And
so between those three, they're making $90 million.
There's $100 million involved in those three guys.
Yeah. So here's the issue. Those are three older players. Corey should still be in his prime at 32. He's not. I think he's made that clear this year that he's not. He can still be a really good player for you, but that's a lot of money committed to him. As you said, good luck moving that contract. I've seen it out there where people saying, well, you move him and you pay $20 million of that every year, right, to move him for a player or whatever you're going to get back. There was a rumor that at one point he was going to the Red Sox for Marcelo Meyer and another player, and that the Rangers were going to pay $20 million. those kind of deals, I think, are just nightmares. I mean, sometimes you just decide you have to get rid of a guy. But how long were they paying Alex Rodriguez when they paid the Yankees to take him off their hands? That
Another 10 years beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, how awful was that? 10 years, and that's not the case. It would be with Corey, but you don't need a Bobby Bonilla day. It's just it's to me, you got to find a way to make it work with Seager, and it's going to require him, as you said, to DH a lot more than he is now. And whether they can talk him into that is going to really be problematic because he wants to play in the field. He wants to play shortstop. He does not want to move to first base. And for all the fans who keep asking that, he really does not want to do that. And I know people will say, "Well, you just tell him he's going to do that." Well, it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, Kevin. I mean, I think again the situation with Corey Seager is this: you can't play him at shortstop every day going forward. Okay, that's number one. If you're going to try and play him at DH half the time, okay, but you're going to have to deal with Corey and how he feels about that. If you try and move him at this point in time, coming off of this year where he's basically going to have a 700 OPS and play less than 100 games, he's got no value. And so if you want to move him, it's purely a salary dump. And so there's no return there. The counterpoint to all this is if you can get somebody to take him, even if you don't get much of a prospect, and you can get them to take the full salary, and this is a key, and you get Ray Davis to say you can take that every dollar you save on Corey Seager and reinvest that to fill other holes, then maybe that makes sense. The other alternative is you play Corey Seager to start the year, hope he is healthy, hope he does regain some value, and then you move him at the deadline next year. But I think any way you slice this, there's a 90% chance that by the All-Star break or by the trade deadline of 2027, if there is one, Corey Seager is gone.
Yeah, I would say that was a really good possibility. Well, especially if at that point Vivaldi and DeGrom are gone, right? Because if they're not back, who's leading this staff? I mean, you got Mackenzie Gore, Leiter, and Rocker. That's the first three guys on the next staff, unless they go out and sign somebody. And if they're going to be in full rebuilding mode, which first of all, let me just say this: Ray Davis is determined to reset his payroll. This is happening, and so all of this couldn't have come at a better time for him. He's a hawk. He wants a salary cap. He wants things to be determined. And that's one of the reasons why he has not made any big commitments, financial deals, is because he wants to find out what the salary cap is going to be when they get one, which I'm not sure they're going to get one. But and let me just ask you that: what do you think the odds of a salary cap being instituted in baseball?
I think the chances of a hard salary cap are very small. I think that there are ways to continue to deter owners from spending high, and there are ways to institute what would amount to a soft cap that would also promote teams getting a break for signing their own players to long-term deals. They're drafted and developed players to long-term deals.
Much like the NBA has.
Much like the NBA. Using the NBA Supermax as kind of a blueprint or a template for this. I think that there's a chance that something like that gets worked out. But I think for that to get worked out, and here's where it gets tricky, the owners are going to have to acknowledge that if they want competitive balance, it starts with raising the salary floor to a competitive minimum, to 150, 175 million.
So let's say it goes. That's what happens, and then so what do you say if there were going to be a cap, what would it be?
Look, I think you could get by with, again, instituting taxes at. I don't understand the numbers here, Kevin, but I'd say I think this year the luxury tax was $260. The luxury tax CBT is $260. if you push the luxury tax to 270 next year, and again, instituted thresholds for penalties, and then if you go over 300, 325, somewhere in there, then you start losing draft picks. In addition to the penalties, maybe that acts as more of a deterrent. And listen, I don't know what's going to be the outcome with the Los Angeles Dodgers, but Mark Walter's situation obviously now is under a whole lot of scrutiny, and the Dodgers have been held up as the team that is breaking baseball. And so if there is a negative outcome for Mark Walters, then all of a sudden the owner's case for this team is outspending everybody and breaking all the rules. And listen, I think the one thing the Dodgers did that was exploitative, exploitative. The one thing the Dodgers did there that I think needs to be addressed is they need to address deferred money. You can't have a player have 68 million of 70 million deferred. That's a loophole that needs to be closed. And I think that's something that it should be fairly easy to be agreed upon, that there's only a certain amount of dollars that could be deferred. But the Dodgers wrinkle is who knows where all of this goes. And I don't know.
Yeah, for people who don't know, Mark Walter's under investigation by the feds. He just dumped the Lakers. He bought them last year for $10 billion, and now he just sold them for $12 billion. So he's out there. Who knows what's next? What he does with the Dodgers. He's still got a lot of money. I'm not saying he doesn't. But
well, and I mean, now Jeannie Buss is suing for the sale of the Lakers, and if that gets rescinded, it may create a negative outcome for Mark Walters and other places. So it's a mess, and I think that sports as a whole could be in for some degree of a title change here.
Oh, sure. Yeah. There's lots of things that can happen. This stuff comes and goes really fast. I think the point to me about this is that no matter what happens in these labor negotiations and what they kind of come up with is basically if there's something they can have a soft cap, hard cap, whatever it is, it's going to be a lot more than what the Ray Davis is paying this year. And if he dumps DeGrom and Evaldi after next year, it's going to be a lot less than that. I mean, he's only paying around $200 million right now, and that's $60 million coming off his books. He's down to 140. I guess my next question for you is Ray going to be willing to eventually spend for something again? Is he going to let this all go down and let them get their farm system replenished and then they develop younger players? You see where they go, and then he's going to say eventually 5 years from now, okay, Chris, now you can go out and make a signing like we did when we brought in DeGrom and Evaldi and Seager and Simeon.
Look, I think that I think that we're getting way ahead of ourselves here, right?
Well, that's the whole point of this podcast. We're getting way ahead of ourselves.
But I think that if you go back and look at the way the Rangers have done things for the last 5 years, they've done it backwards. And what first needs to happen is that they do need to have a 5-year plan. And I don't what they did in 21 and 22 in those off seasons was spent $750 million or $750 million on players. And then the idea was that you were going to jumpstart the organization, and then the farm system was going to develop behind that and start to create waves of talent. Okay, well, then you didn't continue to invest in the team while the farm system got on its feet. And so what you ended up with was trading off the farm system to try and continue to stoke playoff runs. And so now you have a barren farm system and you have a bloated payroll.
Well, let me ask you this question, because that's a great point. We don't look back enough at stuff that's happened. How many of the guys that they've traded over the last 5 years, 4 or 5 years in these situations at the deadline when Chris was aggressive, how many of those guys were viable players who could be playing for the Rangers now?
Well, I mean, when you start looking at Liam Hicks for one, for sure.
Catcher.
Justin Slayton was left off of the 40-man roster and was a Rule 5 pick and is an effective reliever for Boston. Mitch Bratt was just called up. Let me go back and say this, Kevin. Again, I think when I went back and I did this through trades in 24 and 25, including the offseason, the Rangers gave away. The Rangers traded away 27 minor league players. Okay, that is a full AAA roster plus.
Yeah.
And so, whether or not those players have developed into full big league talents or not, they traded away a full team's worth of minor league equity and capital that either could have helped them on the fringes, could have been better used for trades in the offseason perhaps, or could still be in the minor league system, because a lot of those guys were really young. So it's hard to fully grasp what the value is of what they traded away.
It is, but it's always good to know too. Were there some clear mistakes? I mean, he wasn't on the Cole Reagan's trade. You can look at that like he was already on the major league roster. Still, that's the kind of trade though. You get a Aroldis Chapman out of that, you win a World Series. Flags fly forever. So people can live with that, especially now that Cole Reagan's continues to have health problems. So at any rate, it's a lot of stuff to talk about, and we're going to talk more about the Rangers as we go along. That will be a constant topic here. I'm getting the feeling that we'll be talking about the rebuilding of the Rangers for a long time.
I think there's, when you said the words you used, reset, are important. I do think this organization needs a reset, but I think the reset has to start with a better 5-year plan, and that is. And listen, I'm not suggesting that Ray Davis didn't have a plan. I think the plan also got disrupted by the implosion of the cable and TV deal. But the Rangers have to have a plan and have to be willing to stick to it. Otherwise, you end up with these cycles where you're hoping that 1 year out of 5 you're competitive. That's not a window. That's a fluke.
No, that's not. It's not. All right, we're gonna move out of the Rangers now. Before Calvin comes on, we should note that Thursday, Caitlin Clark comes to town to play the Wings. So that'll be big news. That'll be fun to see that. Anything else on the schedule on tap here, Evan? Besides your Rangers that you can think of?
No, it's kind of important for them to just win.
Yeah, that would be good.
Here's the deal: win some games. The best. I will tell you this, Kevin. There's 37 games left in the season as we play. The best 37 game stretch they've had since they won the World Series was to go 23-14 at some point in time in 2025. They do that, I'm confident they make the playoffs, and maybe they restore some faith in fans, and maybe then they even have the ability to stand up to the Astros in the wild card round, or however that will be determined.
Okay. All right. That'll do it for our Rangers talk and our brief mention of the Wings, which we can talk about that some more next week, too. But right now, we got Calvin Watkins on. Calvin joins us from Oxnard. The Cowboys played a no-count game. We used to call them exhibition games, and then the league got mad about that. These are not exhibitions. They are preseason games. Now they're not even that, Calvin. I don't know what to make of them. There's in that game against the Seahawks, there was neither starting quarterback played, and it was just a bunch of guys. A couple of those guys played pretty well, but what was your takeaway from that game?
It was good to see the defense perform a lot better than what we've seen. The 2 first-round picks, Caleb Downs and Malachi Lawrence, they did play, but not a whole lot. I think Downs played like 7 snaps in that game. But overall, the defense was a lot better than what we've seen, as I said. I thought Christian Parker called a pretty good game. It's vanilla, and these exhibition games don't really count. But I didn't see as many communication issues as this defense had in the past, and that's a good first step.
Yeah. Yeah, because look, and we all can want them to play the starters, but look what happened to Jamal Adams, right? Plays in that game, and now he's going to miss the entire season.
He's like 50 years old. I mean, he's old. I mean,
So who cares, right?
People get hurt. Old people get hurt on the football field. I mean, that's just how I look at it.
That's just the way it is. Yeah,
but
that's the issue. Tom Brady complains about guys not playing, and look, I get it, and we'd like to see Dak Prescott play, but history has shown that he's pretty good when the season starts. He's ready to go, and they're keeping him healthy, and that's important for them to keep him healthy, especially this year since it's an every other year thing with him, right? On his health. So the big story from that game, I guess, was Camden Brown, the wide receiver, the undrafted rookie receiver from Georgia Southern. Evan, do you know anything about Camden Brown since you're an old Georgia guy?
No, I don't know anything about him. We hate Georgia Southern.
You Georgia State guys hate Georgia Southern?
Yeah, that's our big arch rival.
Yeah, that's somebody for y'all to look down upon. Is that the whole deal?
We don't like those. We got those Statesboro Blues, man. We don't like them. Georgia Southern's in Statesboro. I can tell you a lot about Georgia Southern. Used to love them when they had Irk Russell there as the head coach. But
Irk Russell, he was a legend.
Long time ago.
Kurt Russell, the actor?
No, Irk.
Kurt Russell.
Oh.
E-R-K.
I'm sorry, Calvin. You must have some beach water in your ear.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Calvin, here's my takeaway from that. And Camden Brown, who made a couple of really nice catches, one of them a one-handed grab in the end zone, from Joe Milton. So here's my takeaway from that. Is Camden Brown good enough, and will Ryan Flournoy be good enough that if they play well this year, because I think that probably Camden will make the roster at this point, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
If they're good enough this year, will that be enough for them to say goodbye to George Pickens?
No.
No?
They need George Pickens.
They need George Pickens? Are you on the George Pickens bus now?
I think I am. I think
I think your question's a little bit misleading there. Now, wait a minute. What are you saying?
Are you questioning my ability to ask questions?
Well, I mean, I kind of interpreted it like, could Camden Brown replace George Pickens? I think that's a little bit of a stretch right now.
No. You deliberately misinterpreted my question. I said, will the presence of him and Ryan Flournoy be enough for them to let George Pickens go or trade George Pickens? Because here's the alternative. Then you're going to either you put him under you put the tag on him for another year, which is just only going to make him mad. He may not even come back the year after that. Or you got to give him a long-term deal. And then you give him a long-term deal, you're going to have what? $60-70 million committed to 2 wide receivers. Is that what you really want to do, Calvin?
I don't think that's ideally you would want to do. Jerry Jones has said he wants to sign George Pickens long term, but here's the deal: Ryan Flournoy, and he's like the number 3 receiver,
right?
So
had a really nice season last year.
Sure, maybe he gets 35 catches this year, right?
Keep patronizing them, Calvin.
Sure. Whatever you say, Kevin.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you say,
whatever
buddy.
you want. He'll get 35 catches.
Yeah.
Cammy Brown, he might get 10 catches this year. He's fighting for the last receiver spot.
Right.
They might have 5 receivers, or they could have 6 receivers. And plus, Camden Brown's going to be playing all the special teams, right? He makes that one-handed touchdown in Seattle, and he can't really celebrate this big moment. You know why? Because he's on a point-after team, right?
Right.
So he's got a lot of stuff going on. But those 2 kids cannot replace George Pickens. The Cowboys have to work out something with Pickens. If not, it's okay. It's at the end of the world because he got this kid by the name of C.D. Lamb, who's a pretty daggone good football player too, right? And I guess I look at this whole thing as we'll worry about next year when we get there, because the Cowboys are so centered on we think we have a good enough team to make a title run, right? So I think Jerry's like, that's part of the reason why I think they signed Von Miller this week, is that they think they can make this run for the title. You know, Dak's wearing his T-shirt from Super Bowl 30, trying to manifest itself, and they're worried about next year. Like I said, next year. It's the now. And if Cam Brown can help me now with 10 catches this year, whoop, fantastic. If Ron Flanoy can get me 35 catches this year, that's great. We'll worry about next year, because right now we got CeeDee Lamb and we got George Pickens, and they're going to rule the world right now in the National Football League.
All right, we buried the lead on that whole Von Miller thing.
I did?
No, I did.
You always taught me not to bury the lead.
I know, but I really should have brought up Von Miller first. So they signed Von Miller Sunday night. You know, the DeSoto Texas A&M product, a future Hall of Famer, as he keeps being identified. Had a pretty good year last year for Buffalo. Had 9 sacks?
Yeah.
But look, here's the way I look at it. You talk about old players get hurt a while ago, right? How old is Von Miller?
37.
37.
Yes, sir.
Von Miller had a half sack more than Jadeveon Clowney had for the Cowboys last year. So I don't know how excited we need to get about Von Miller is what I'm saying here. If they didn't think Jadeveon Clowney was good enough with 8.5 sacks last year, what makes Von Miller better this year after he had 9?
Clowney, who led the team in sacks last year, I think he had 8.5.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones wanted to bring him back, right? That's what he told us at the Super Bowl. And then as they had their organizational meetings, Christian Parker, the new defensive coordinator, said, Clowney does not fit my scheme. Yes, he's played a 3-4 scheme before, but not my type of 3-4. So they let Clowney go, and as you saw, he signed with Houston. Von Miller is someone who fits their 3-4 scheme, plus BT Jordan, who is their pass rush consultant, has worked with Von Miller for a number of years, and he loves Von Miller. And Von Miller said something on social media the other day. He said, when I come back, I'm going to play 10 to 15 snaps, and I'm good. So we asked Brian Schottenheimer that question, and Shotty was like, whoa, what do you mean? But it's okay. He's not going to start. He's not going to play 60 snaps. So you have an old guy out there playing 10 to 15 snaps a game. That should be fine. You can't give him a full-time load. I don't think they were going to give him a full-time load anyway, but he should be good on third down. So if you have, like, say, 12 third downs in a football game and you got Von Miller out there, I think that's good.
If he gets 9 sacks, playing 10 to 15 snaps a game, that's got to be a world record pace.
Maybe so.
Yeah, I don't know how well that works. And by the way, this whole pass rush consultant thing, you know,
yes, sir.
Jerry, that has to kill. I hope that Jerry's not paying this guy. I know that Jerry hates to pay anybody, and he's got, you know, he'd like to peel his staff back down to like 5 people. So now he's got a pass rush consultant too. I'm blown away by that.
Let me tell you something, Kevin. The future is consultancy and senior advisors.
That's what I'm going to go for. I'm going for that. Senior advisor, Kevin Sherrington. Because I am senior.
Von Miller played 420 snaps last year for the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
So he played 37% of the time.
I said the Bills earlier. I stand corrected. Yes,
yeah. No, it's okay. Yeah, he played the Bills previous year. Yeah. And you know what? As I'm looking at it, in 2024, when he played for the Bills and played 13 games, he played 279 snaps, which was 33%. So if you get him in the 30% range of defensive snaps, he's fine. The last time he's played over 50% of the plays was 2022, when he was a sprite, 33 years of age for the Bills. So it's been a long time for Von Miller that he's played over 50% of the plays. So if you get him at 30%, 35%, I think you'll be fine. And that's what he's been playing the last couple of years.
Listen, let me just say this. Compared to the three of us.
Yes, sir.
33, 37, those are still kids, okay?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir. They
look,
are kids. Yeah,
it's a different career. It's a different career arc we're talking about here.
Ain't nobody on this podcast under the age of 60.
Close anyway.
Oh yes, I'm under 60, sir.
Yeah. See, there you go.
Calvin, how old are you?
Me,
Yeah.
58.
God dang it.
Okay,
you whippersnapper.
I want to write a column on Deron Bland's shoes since you guys were so tickled about his big feet the last time I was on this podcast. So
Bigfoot
I had a good
Bland.
talk with him.
Did you tell him that's what the nickname we gave him, Bigfoot Bland?
I didn't have heart to tell him that, but we did talk about he's wearing a bigger shoe this year. We have a lovely chat
about his shoes. That's good. I'm glad to know
I told
that.
Robbie Ostrom that, I came up with a nickname because he looks like the old prospector. He didn't really appreciate that.
Well, first of all, it was the most confounding thing ever that, so poor Robbie walks into the dugout and Evan hits him with that. And it's like, what are you supposed to think when somebody says that to you?
He looks like Yosemite Sam walking around. All he needs is like some bandoliers and boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about dating yourself, Yosemite Sam. Way to go. All right. So Calvin, so you said that Christian Parker, he didn't screw up anything. It was pretty vanilla, but it all went pretty well. We pretty much made the guy out to be the second coming of Bill Belichick. And so, at what, I guess, we're not going to really find that out until the season starts. And then even after that, but I will say, it all went really bad, really fast last year for Matt Eberflus. So we knew right away, man, this ain't working. And it didn't work. It never did. So it's already ahead of that standard, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, I'm going to date myself here. The Cowboys went from having Barney Fife as the defensive coordinator to Kojak as the defensive coordinator. That's what this is. That's what we're talking about here.
Barney Fife to Kojak. That's two of my favorites. That's two of my favorites.
Yeah. I couldn't think of a law enforcement analogy where the guy was inept. And the reason why Kojak's in my mind because I watched the first 2 seasons of Kojak on Amazon because it was just on my thing. I needed something to watch, so I've been watching Kojak. So anyway. That's how everyone is depicting.
You're watching
Christian Parker.
Kojak at training camp?
Well, I need something to do late at night instead of running the streets. This town closes early, Evan. Everybody closes that. This town closes at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, bro.
I mean, if you want to watch some police reruns, Law and Order is on every night.
I know, but Kojak's in New York. I'm from I know. I went.
And Tootsie Pop.
He's gonna be watching Sam Spade next.
I'll watch some Law and Order tonight. How about that? Is that better?
There you go. Move into this century. That'd be great.
All of my shows that I currently watch, they're they're filming right now, so I can't. I wait for them to come back.
Yeah, sure. Say that. Go with that. Yeah.
Listen, I go to bed every night with Mariska Hargitay.
Wow.
She's a big Knicks fan.
You stuck that out there, didn't you?
You know what I saw at training camp? Dustin Hoffman. And
we saw that. We saw that.
Yeah.
And he looked like he was very friendly. I've always heard that he was a little prickly. But
really?
somebody asked him about how you think this team's going to do, and he goes, "I don't know anything about football." So the next question should have been, "Then what are you doing out here?"
He's just out there, him and his son, and because his son said he's not taking any questions. So then someone asked him a question, and then he went like this with his hair, and then he was like, "I don't know anything about football, but go Cowboys." And he walks off with Jerry.
Yeah.
And then Worldwide West was out here too. Worldwide West.
Wow. How about that?
And some dude from the Clippers was out here yesterday. We didn't know who he was. Everybody was Googling him. Jordan somebody, some tall kid. They just said he was with the Clippers. So that's and we have Michael Irvin too, and James Washington. A lot of celebrities coming through.
There's always a lot of celebrities hanging on with the Cowboys. There's no question about that.
Had dinner with Keyshawn Johnson the other night. So things. This is before I watched Kojak. I had dinner with Keyshawn, so we had good times. Good times.
Oh, you really buried the lead.
Have we had the report from the media party. How did that go, Calvin?
It was pretty good. Had some sushi. I didn't drink much because I was driving, so I just had a lot of sushi. And Jerry was cool. Al Michaels was there. Al was it was good to talk to Al a little bit, and that was it. And Michael was there. Michael, and Tyronn Lue, he was at the bar, but he wasn't part of the party, but he was at the bar. And so, yeah, I know you want to talk Cowboys, but all this other stuff is probably more interesting than exhibition times. But yeah,
want to talk about Kojak, whatever you want to talk about.
This is what people come for.
This is what they do.
Let me tell you something.
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you something. It's about as meaningful as anything that took place in that Cowboys-Seahawks game.
Well, that is correct. You are exactly right about that.
But one thing I will say that came out of that game, Brian Schottenheimer was not happy with the number of penalties special teams unit had, and which is a continuing trend because they had the same issues during the regular season. And the other issue that they had was you saw the O-line and D-line depth struggle a little bit in that ball game. It got better in the second half. And then we had a practice on Monday, and there was a shakeup on the second team line. So like TJ Bass was the center. Now he's at guard. Nick Everett is now the new center on the second team. So there's been a lot of changes there. I think the Cowboys understanding that if one of their star linemen get hurt, especially up front, that they don't have good depth. So I was very surprised that they did sign Von Miller because I thought they're going to get them a D tackle, they're going to get them a guard or a center, right? Somebody that could bolster that second unit. And so instead they got themselves an 84-year-old pass rusher, but that's another story for another day.
So let me ask you that. We're going to wrap this all up. So is that the big signing then? Was that the thing we've been waiting for? Is that the thing everybody was talking about? Oh, Jerry's going to go out and make a big deal here. Was this it? Von Miller?
Jerry says, hold off. We might make another move. So Jerry's a big time promoter, as you guys know. So he said, we could make another move. He has not crossed Max Crosby off his list, who's playing with the Raiders now, and I think he started a fight in a scrimmage game today with the bug flew right in front of me. I think Max Crosby tried to start a fight today with the Texans at a joint practice today. But Jerry wants to sign another big time player or trade for one, and that would probably be Max Crosby. But as of right now, it's Von Miller.
Okay. So you're saying that Max Crosby's trying to fight his way off the Raiders? Is that what you're trying to say?
No,
he
I was just saying
in a fight last week too.
He's feisty.
It's like two fights. Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to come back to Texas, man. He wants to come home. Bring Von Miller back home, the DeSoto kid, and now you can bring Max.
I don't believe in this pass rush.
Calvin loves that hometown reunion. He loves that, boy.
I'm a hometown reunion kind of guy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I don't believe in this pass rush, Calvin. I don't think they got enough juice. People talk about trying to scheme things up, and that's hard to scheme things up. You got to have players. So that will be an issue going forward because as our old pal Babe Loffenberg said last year, he tweeted, the Cowboys need three things: pass rush, a pass rush, and a pass rush. Right? I mean, they needed those other things. Caleb Downs was a great pick, and that was a great addition. And maybe Malachi Lawrence will be a nice player, and maybe Barham as well. And maybe these guys will play. They made some additions at linebacker. Those were all. The defense was a disaster last year. I would say, wouldn't you, Calvin? That's probably the worst defense in Cowboys history. Maybe
it was really bad. Yeah, it was. It was really bad. I mean, it was communication issues, skill level issues, just everything. And Matt Eberflus is going to do so much, right?
Right.
I mean, he's calling the game, and the guys, freelancing. Like Trayvon Diggs shouldn't have been out there. He had one leg playing, and he's freelancing. It was just bad all the way around. But I think the biggest issue that defense had was the lack of communication.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you don't believe in what's being called, then you're just going to try to do whatever you want to do, right? And I think this defense, these guys, they believe in what Christian Parker wants to call, how they're doing it. And I had talked to Deron Bland, Bigfoot Bland, and he said, we're not calling anything different from last year. You know, we're still going to play zone. We're still going to play man-to-man. There's no new formula here that Christian Parker has. The thing he said is we all are going to be communicating more. So if we're all in zone, we all know we're going to be in zone. You know, if we're all in man-to-man and we got to press, we all understand this is what we got to do. He said last year, everyone wanted to do their own thing. This year, everyone is connected with Christian Parker and the other coaches they have on staff. So there's a belief that because of that connection, things are going to work out.
Yeah, that's interesting you should say that, because I was talking to Cliff Harris, the Hall of Fame Cowboys safety, last night for a story I was writing about the passing of John Nyland, the great guard, as Calvin wrote his obit the other day. I kind of just tacked on something. And Cliff was talking about, he said, I didn't know John really well. He was on offense. He said, he was trying to be as nice as he possibly could. But basically what he said was that, he said, I was a quarterback in college for a little while. Offense is different from defense. He said, offense, there's a lot of me in offense. He said, whereas on defense, it's got to be all about the team. He said, you're a unit. If you're not a unit on defense, you're screwed. He said that is the place where everybody has to be on the same page. It's a little bit like that in the offensive line. Everybody has to be on the same page, but that's really it on offense, really. And then you want a connection with your receivers and all that kind of stuff. But on defense, man, that is one unit where everything has to be in concert there, and everybody has to be on the same page. And as you said, the Cowboys weren't like that last year, so that was their major issue. I think it probably had been going on for a while. I think that Micah Parsons masked a lot of problems as an elite pass rusher. When you can get to the quarterback and make the quarterback nervous and make him speed up his clock, then good things happen for you on defense. It doesn't matter really as much what's going on back there. But if you can't do that, well, and then there's chaos back there as well. You're just going to get picked apart.
Well, they hope that BT Jordan will help.
Pass rush consultant.
I mean, he was a pass rush consultant with the Broncos, and they led the NFL in sacks for the last 2 seasons. So, and I had a great talk with Jordan. He's a really nice. He's a young guy. He really this consulting business is like he got on YouTube and was helping one guy, and then somebody saw him, and then an NFL player flew to Dallas, and so it just took off, right? So
he's an influencer.
He's an influencer, pass rush consultant, influencer. So, but the players love him. Kenny Clark loves him because he worked with him when he was in Green Bay. Von Miller loves him. He's worked with him here in Dallas when he's here in the offseason. So a lot of guys speak highly of him, and the Broncos love him too because look what happened there. So hopefully the Cowboys will get some consistent pass rush. Because as you said, Kevin, you got to disrupt the quarterback. I mean, you can have anybody at corner, but if you're pressuring the QB, that helps the corners, right? And so we'll see what happens.
All right. Thanks, Calvin. We appreciate it. And we appreciate everybody coming on and listening and making it all the way through this podcast. We've been all over the map here, but we brought it right back. That's the beauty of it all. Well, we'll be back next week to talk more about it. We'll have Joe Hoyt on next week. We like to alternate Calvin and Joe. We don't want to wear them out. It's a lot to do this. Calvin's going to go take a nap as soon as this is over. I
have to put up with you every week. Consider how worn out I am.
Evan's already in a prone position right now. He is nodding off even as we speak. You know what I'm doing? You know what I'm going to do? As soon as this is over, I'm going to go back in there and I'm going to dial me up some Kojak and watch that, baby.
You saw watch some Kojak, baby.
I love Kojak. What a great show!
The great thing about watching those shows is you get to see like Julia Roberts was in the episode. Richard Gere was in the episode. It's like, that's Richard Gere. Yeah,
that's before they were Miami famous.
Vice. Yeah,
Julia Roberts was in an episode of Kojak.
She's like a teenager. Yeah, she's like a teenager. Yeah.
Come on, man. Plus,
Yeah.
it's so gritty and grimy. That was the real New York. Calvin, you're a New York guy. You knew all
That's what. Yeah.
remember, when you were getting hauled into police stations, there wasn't all this kind of stuff that they see now. It's all fancy and their touch screens and all that. It was a gritty, grimy place, and you barely made it out of New York. So
you had to write down the police report, by hand.
Really, really rough stuff, tough stuff. All right, that's going to do it. So
I'm looking this up. I'm going to find out if Julia Roberts ever made an appearance in Kojak.
Make sure you report that on our next podcast, okay?
Listen,
time for that.
I just want to say that we need to get going here. Kevin has got a seminar to teach on how to write better.
I need to get in that.
It's going to take 90 seconds.
It's called Writing is Good.
Like Kevin Sherrington.
Yeah, that's
Are you going to be joining that seminar, Calvin?
I think I might have to after today's episode.
You might have to, Calvin. I'm going to make you do it. I'm going to tell him, I don't care if anybody else comes. I want Calvin Watkins sitting there looking at me for another hour.
I'm going to ask a lot of questions. I'm going to say, hey, can you make this lead punchy? I don't know what that means.
I'm going to be on it, Calvin. I'll be asking some
You're going to be on it? You're going to ask a question. Yeah. What does punchy mean in the league? What do you mean by that?
Evan has already asked if he could say something. So I'm going to mute him the entire
I'm going to
time.
ask, what's your motivation when you put these leads together?
You're going to ask me about my muse. What is my muse?
Yeah. What is your muse?
Yeah.
Kevin, who are your literary influences?
I am literally sick
What
of all of
books
y'all.
do you read at night before you go to bed to give you the inspiration to write these beautiful leads?
Calvin, now you're starting to get a little personal, Calvin. I don't like this. I don't like this talk. It was okay for a while, but then that was just...
I asked him what books he likes to read before he goes to bed at night. Now it's personal.
Whose dog is barking?
It's the neighbor. We at this house, neighbor's barking. I don't know why he's barking. Sorry. I don't know if this is going to be on the podcast, but hopefully people will like it.
I hope so too. Well, it brings an element to it. Calvin once said that's okay in a podcast when dogs are barking and stuff like that. That's all good stuff.
Before the end of this football season, we're just going to do a best of Calvin, and we're going to have all the sound bites from Bigfoot Bland and his giant foot.
Yeah,
we're going to have Kojak. I can't wait. Calvin, I don't know if we want Joe next week. I might want Calvin back.
Calvin's much better for our Q ratings, I think. That's the good thing.
Woo.
All right.
Joe's bogging us down with all this information.
Oh, my God. Right. It's football. Let's talk about life. It's beautiful. Okay. It's live. Beautiful weather.
It's banter. Kevin really wants to go.
I got to go.
He does.
I got to go. Listen, this is it. No more talking.
Say your little goodbye thing.
I'm trying to. So from everybody in here to everybody out there, thanks, and we'll see you next time.